Hey, yeah, I saw your call. I'm really glad you reached out. Actually, I had a feeling you might be dealing with some things, and you don't have to explain them perfectly. We can just talk right now. How are you feeling right now? Yeah, take your time. Think about it. I'm listening. That makes sense. Sometimes it's not even one clear problem, right? It can be like a mix of thoughts, doubts, questions that don't fully settle. And when that builds up, it can start to feel like you're a bit disconnected from yourself. People talk a lot about finding yourself, but they usually say it like it's a place or something you've lost, like you took a wrong turn somewhere. To be honest, I don't really see it that way. I think it's more like you've been adapting to what's coming to you for so long that you haven't checked in with what actually feels true to you lately. And you've heard about Jung, right? Carl Jung had this idea that we all wear different masks. At work, we wear one specific mask. With friends, we behave differently. With family, we can also be different. And it's not that we're lying or being a different person. We're just trying to survive, fit in, and do what's needed. But of course, after a while, it gets a little bit hard to remember which parts are the mask and which parts are the real you. I was wondering, have you ever felt that blur? Yeah, that's more common than people admit. Jung also said that the work of becoming yourself usually starts when the old way stops feeling right. And it probably doesn't feel completely wrong, but it can kind of feel tight, a little limiting. So if things have been feeling a bit uncomfortable lately, that might actually be a sign that something inside you is waking up and really wants to change. Let me ask you something, and just so you know, there's no right answer here. When do you feel most like yourself? I mean those moments where you're not trying to prove anything to anyone, or keep up, or be a certain version of you. Just moments where you feel aligned, in peace with yourself. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Those are the moments that tend to leave little clues about ourselves. Now, let me ask you something else. When do you feel yourself pulling back? Or worse, when do you notice you're holding something in or shrinking a little? Yeah, I hear that. That contrast matters more than people think, because a lot of self-understanding comes from noticing where we expand, we feel aligned, in peace, and where we contract, we feel smaller or pulling back. There's another idea Jung talked about that I've always found helpful. He believed that the parts of us we ignore don't disappear. They just find other ways to get our attention. So if you're really ignoring some part of yourself, it might show up as restlessness, or frustration, or that feeling that something is off, even when things look completely fine on the outside. So let me ask you this gently. Is there a part of you that's been asking for more space lately? You don't have to define it clearly. Just notice what comes to mind. A lot of people think that finding yourself means making some huge, very dramatic change. Sometimes, if you're really fed up, that can happen. But more often than not, it starts really quietly, by paying attention to what gives you energy, and what has the opposite effect, what drains it. What you keep returning to, even when you try to push it aside. Those patterns usually aren't random. Here's a question I like to come back to. If there were fewer expectations around you, what would you naturally lean toward? What would you give more time to, just because it feels so right? Yeah, that answer says a lot about you. Nietzsche once said that becoming who you are is a process, so it's not the finish line. You don't arrive there all at once, magically. You get closer and closer by making choices that feel a bit more honest for you, step by step. So instead of asking yourself who you're supposed to be, maybe it's worth for you to ask yourself, what feels true to me right now? And then, what's one small way I could honor that this week? You don't need to do something crazy or dramatic, just something that feels real to you. That's how I think you could start reconnecting with yourself. Just pick one choice that feels slightly more like home than your last one. I want to tell you something. You're not lost. The fact that you're questioning, reflecting, feeling weird, unsettled, that's often what happens when you're growing out of an old version of yourself. So congrats. People who never ask themselves these questions rarely feel confused. They just keep going and life passes by, but they never end up being their true, authentic self. Because going and doing isn't always the same as being true. So if things feel a bit unclear right now, I want to let you know that that's okay. You don't need all the answers tonight. Staying curious about yourself is already a big chunk of the work. I'm really glad you called, even if this conversation stayed mostly quiet, and some of it was just for you. We can keep talking whenever you need. Talk soon.